All right. Hi there. My name is Joshua Crabtree. I'm an education student at the University of South Dakota. Um, this is the presentation of my interview with veteran for the Through Their Eyes project. My veteran, little back story here, he wished to remain anonymous. Um, so, in the paper, I had to only refer to him as anonymous or use pronouns. And then in the audio recording of the interview, he wished to have a modulation put over his voice. Um, I understand that's not exactly what we were looking for, but he was the only veteran that I could find that had seen action that agreed to do the interview with me. So had to work with what we got. So this is the life of an anonymous veteran. So starting with early life here, uh, the veteran was born in Ohio. He grew up with his parents and his three older brothers. Um, his parents, uh, when he was 16, his parents came home one day and told him that they were going to be leaving Ohio and traveling the country as ministers, as traveling ministers. So him, his younger or his two older brothers, but not the oldest, they were pulled out of high school, and then the oldest brother decided to come with them. Um, they packed up their 1963 Ford Fairlane and just headed south. Took whatever they could pack, sold the rest, and took off. They traveled south first, visited all the southern states, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, mainly, Florida even, and then they went west. They traveled for 2 years. They ended up going to 47 of the 50 states, just missed out Alaska, Hawaii, and Maine. And then, yeah, when he turned 18, he enlisted. This was after, like 2 weeks after he met the woman that would eventually become his wife. Um, and uh, he says that even after 2 weeks, he knew that she was special and he was gonna come back for her. So he ended up enlisting in the Navy on his 18th birthday, and yeah. So service. He did serve on the USS Bunker Hill during the Gulf War as a mechanic. He claims that his most fond memories from his service was uh, spending time around his fellow mechanics and just joking around with them. He told me about several different pranks that one of his mechanics would pull on him, and then he would retaliate, or he would do a prank on them, and they would retaliate, and just that friendly banter that they had amongst each other. Those were his favorite memories from the time. He did tell me a story about the day that the USS Bunker Hill fired a Tomahawk missile. And he said he was doing a PM on a preventative maintenance protocol on a backup generator on the ship. And he, the way he put it was he saw himself as the grease on the gears that kept the war machine moving. He wasn't doing the fighting, but he wasn't far from it, and he was just doing PMs on backup generators just in case. He credits his interest in going into this like field. The reason why he signed up with the Navy is because he wanted to further his skill set in being a mechanic. He wanted to get a little bit of experience, something to put on a resume, that type of stuff. Um, because he was pulled out of high school at 16. His family was very poor. They constantly slept in their car whenever they would travel, and he he said between wanting to get experience and like he could have gotten like an internship with a mechanic shop nearby, but he wanted to get some space. He just wanted to distance himself a little bit and just explore, I guess, is the way he put it. Um, but yeah, he got into the war and he got plenty of experience. Life after the Navy, he moved back to Nebraska, ended up getting married to his wife there. He had 4 kids. He started a business, and then he encountered what he called highs and lows. Um, he explained that he expected life to be solved after um, after he got out of the Navy. He went into trying to get experience, trying to get a life set up for himself, his future wife, and his future family. And he also wanted to provide for his parents and his brothers. And so he expected the military to be a get in, get experience, get out, and that's it. But he didn't realize that, you know, there's going to be difficulties still. He claims that marriage was, in his words, far more dangerous than anything he ever did in the military. And it was kind of funny because his wife was standing in the kitchen, just the room right next over, and she was not too happy about that. But he laughed it off and he explained that he just meant that, you know, there were difficulties that he didn't see coming. Like, you know, what if the business fails, which it did? What if somebody gets sick, which somebody did? His dad ended up getting diagnosed with lung cancer. Life happens, and he did not take that into account. He he's self-claimed ignorant on that front. Um, but you know, then the highs. You know, he had his kids. He had a family. He got space from his other family. He had you know, a skill set to start a career. He ended up doing technical work on generators for local hospitals and stuff like that. And he claims that, you know, given the highs and lows, life was good. My favorite part of the interview was discussing the topic of war and peace with him. The veteran gave an interesting perspective, definitely a perspective that I was not expecting. He believes that war is a necessary side effect to the United States protecting the freedoms it believes their citizens are entitled to: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, property. All of these things require somebody to stand up and fight if those rights are threatened by an outside force. And he understands that, and he's come to peace with that. But he believes that that decision is not his to make. So he doesn't really concern himself with it. He believes that decision is far bigger than he is. He believes that there are governmental bodies and people, you know, in his words, more important than him that have to make those decisions and should be concerned with making that decision. He has total sympathy for those who are in that position, and he has total sympathy for the men and women who are then, you know, facing the consequences of making that decision and actually having to be the person behind the trigger. But as far as him, he does not worry about that. He has his family. He has providing for his family, enjoying his time with them. Like, he sees those as far more important than worrying about whether conflict should or should not happen. And that's the life of my anonymous veteran. All the information can be found at that link there. That's the link to the video, to the audio recording of the interview. I put that on YouTube if anybody wants to watch that. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.